you know, in this day and time, when in this game, like you never know when that opportunity's not going to be there, so you got to take full advantage of it.
But it's like two very different things of putting together hit records with a bunch of different artists and like making that happen versus like finding young undiscovered talent,
right,
and then building them up from the ground up. You probably have a higher percentage than most people in this game, but we all know that this is kind of a low percentage thing for the most part.
For sure.
You know, anyone who runs a label, you're going to sign 10 artists and
For
maybe
sure.
1 or 2 are going to become successful. Like, was that kind of a interesting transition for you?
I mean, I want to say, like, you know, like we was gifted in a way because, you know, one of our first artists we signed, being Lil Uzi, literally was out the gate a fucking superstar. So it was like, you know, but it came with some pressures too, because it was like, all right, you know, for so long the pressure had been like being a part of so many other people's careers and successes, and then, all right, having to do it like under our, you know, our label or under our name, you know what I mean? And then we did it, and it was like, all right, you got to do it again, you know? And then we were successful at it with Jack in the same vein. And again, you know, he's become like a generational artist, obviously, who's going to be here for a long time. So there's some pressures in it for sure, you know, but, you know, I take those on, like, you got to work with the pressure, you know what I mean? You can't fold under it, obviously. And it's just like, yeah, for us, definitely, you know, we like to take quality over quantity, but at the same time, like, yeah, I want to go out there and sign like 5, 6, 7 more artists this year, and you know, see where we go with them, and create some more superstars. So it's obviously a different entity or different battle than being able to call Lil Wayne and get a verse for a record on my album. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like you said, it's a low percentage game. Like, especially today, where it's like, you know, there's artists left and right, and there's so many different avenues and analytics and places and spaces for people to be and to become. But, you know, if you love it, like, and it's something that I do, it's like, hey, like, run it up.
Do you think that you having your own thing going is like critical to you being able to sign all these successful artists? Because when I was going through your history, and I'm looking at, because you were with Atlantic before, right?
I was originally.
And you signed a bunch of artists who I remember their names from back in the day and everything, nothing against them, but maybe, you know, it seems like your track record has improved since then, because you have like massive superstars since then.
Well, the first person I signed to Atlantic was Uzi.
Oh, that was under Atlantic as well. Okay.
Yeah, so like, I was signed to Atlantic as an artist originally. Like, I did my artist deal through Atlantic Grand Hustle, and then I left and I went over to E1. And then, you know, when I went to E1, I started honestly putting out better records, and I had more success with my own records. And then, you know, shout out to my man Sam Crespo, who worked at Atlantic, who was, you know, working a lot of my records. He presented the opportunity for me to come back as an A&R. And, you know, when I took the job, I also, you know, brought to them Mean Street Studios, and they became my partner in the studio. But they were like kind of putting me with different artists as an A&R, and it just, I was trying to find my footing. And when Cannon brought Uzi to the table, and then I brought Uzi to Atlantic, you know, that was literally our first signing, you know, to the company. And we did it in a sense where, like, we signed him to Generation Now, and we did our production deal with Atlantic instead of me just kind of like an A&R and signing him to the building. Because, you know, they early on, it wasn't that they believed in Lil Uzi, they believed in the DJ drama, you know what I'm saying, and what I was bringing to the table. So yeah, that's pretty much how that went.
All right, so you see it. We just hit 500K. You know what that means? That means you gotta subscribe and get us to 600K, because we are dangerously close to 666K. Let's go.